NJ Ranger 201 here with NJR News. In this segment, hey, did you guys hear this? Did you guys see this? Oh, Destiny, Norm Finkelstein, Lex Friedman debate. So I was not trying to watch a 5-hour, feels like 6-hour, whatever the hell it is, debate on Israel and Palestine with 3 scholars and a content creator. But thanks to Cyrus Chang 499, with the following comment, listing out all the different ways that Professor Norm Finkelstein pronounces or mispronounces one Stephen Bennell, aka Destiny's, name throughout the course of this long-ass debate. Initially, this video was going to just be a montage of the different pronunciations, but along the way, I happened to see some good goofs and gaffes. And also, in fairness, I wanted to give both Destiny and Professor Benny Morris, his teammate, their chance to say some really normal stuff, both about the current state of the conflict and about historic conflicts in the past. And while I was along the way doing that, I felt that in nature of the seriousness of the topic, that we should also give both Mouin Rabbani and Norm himself a chance to say some heartfelt stuff, to juxtapose the goofs and gaffes, which is the main thrust of this piece. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy.
Your name, please?
Stephen Bonnell.
Okay. Mr. Bonnell, I've not read him.
What he said.
I've read him.
You read him, you don't understand him. He sits right here.
Believe me, I'm a lot more literate than you, Mr. Borelli.
That's not controversial.
Mr. Bonnell, Mr. Borelli. Okay, all right? Because, hey, laugh. It's hilarious. The story's so funny.
You're lying about the Great Russian Return had aspects of violence to it. According, even the UN says it themselves.
Okay.
But you only select what the UN says that you like.
You see, the problem, Mr. Morelli, is no due respect to Mr. Bonnell, none other than Israel's chief historian, the famed, justifiably famed Benny Morris, thinks we should be dropping nuclear weapons on Iran.
Iran has for years, its leaders for years have said we should destroy Israel. Mm-hmm. You agree with that? Okay, but some of them have said, including Khamenei
if you don't
and
know
Khomeini.
The evidence, if you don't know the evidence, why are you laughing?
The misrepresentation that South Africa does and their case about all of these horrendous quotes, in my opinion, borders on criminal.
Well, 16 ICJ judges disagree.
That's fine if 16 ICJ judges disagree,
but
I'm going to give
incompetent.
They could be, but
it must be. Even the American judge, she must have been awful incompetent if she was unable to see the misrepresentations that Mr. Bonnell, based on his Wikipedia entry, was able to find.
So this is you're dead wrong.
Mr. Borelli.
Also, I recommend people actually read the case and follow through a lot of the quotes. That they just don't show genocidal intent. When we went to war with Iraq and we wanted to destroy Iraq, that was a genocidal statement.
And on that...
The first principle in UN Resolution 242 is the inadmissibility of the acquisition of territory by force.
Which is meaningless.
It may be meaningless to you, Mr. Bonnell.
It was meaningless to everyone.
Okay, Mr. Bonnell.
Norm, answer me a question. How close has 242 gotten the Palestinians to a state? How close has the 2004 advisory opinion gotten the West Bank settlement?
What's your alternative?
The alternative is not this, whatever this making money off the conflict is. The actual alternative, the actual alternative.
Should talk about making money off
your media blitz. You go, this has been the Palestinian policy for 60 years. The only option is conflict.
Listen to this.
The only option is combat.
Mr. Bonnell is now an expert on Palestinian mentality. We have a written record,
Mr. Pop Historian. That's great. That's great.
Mr. Burrell, at least I had a quote to cherry pick.
That's great.
All you have is Wikipedia.
You want me, I'm 67. What do you think those stories were about? You're not going to respond to anything I'm saying because you have no answer.
I'll respond to you.
That's correct.
Okay, Mr. Bonnell, I'll tell you why. Because every human rights, humanitarian, and UN organization in the world has said have said that the blockade
Nobody cares about amnesty.
Is a form of collective punishment, which is illegal under international law.
Illegal. The word
so courageous to be bombing merchant ships while tens of thousands of people die of actual starvation. Not the starvation that exists in the Gaza Strip, where people before October 7th don't die of starvation. Not the concentration camp positions of the Gaza Strip. They say why. Okay. Why did they say that?
That's why The Economist, not a radical periodical, described Gaza as a human rubbish.
So tell me by what metrics? Tell me what they said.
Mr. Bennell.
Tell me by what metrics.
I think that in the framework of a two-state settlement, I think a formula would need to be found that does not undermine the foundations of a two-state settlement. And I don't think it would be that difficult, because I suspect that there are probably large numbers of Palestinian refugees who, once their rights are acknowledged, will find it exceptionally distasteful, exceptionally distasteful to have to live among the kind of sentiments that we've heard around this table today, to be quite frank. I mean, I was previously unfamiliar with you, and I watched one of your preparation videos. Very disconcerting stuff, I have to say. You were explaining 2 days ago in the discussion about apartheid and how absurd it was, that in your view, Jim Crow was not apartheid. Jim Crow was not apartheid. But Arab states not giving citizenship to Palestinian refugees is apartheid.
Moeen mentions that more journalists were killed in Gaza than in all of World War II.
That doesn't further any part of the
more
conversation.
Medics were killed.
No, that's silly.
And then he says it's virtue
in the area.
But when Israelis get killed, that's serious.
I never said it's serious on both sides. I didn't say you call it virtue signaling. I'm not perfect. Or that maybe 51% of the people were killed.
Look, I think there's a value to preserving the record. I'm not optimistic about where things are going to end up. There was a very nice book written by a woman named Helen Hunt Jackson at the end of the 19th century, describing what was done to the Native Americans. She called it a century of dishonor, and she described in vivid, poignant detail what was done to the Native Americans. Did it save them? No. Did it help them? Probably not. Did it preserve their memory? Yes. And I think there's a value to that. You know, there was a famous film by Sergei Eisenstein. It was either Battleship Potemkin or Mother. I can't remember which one. The last scene was the Tsar's troops mowing down all the Russian people. He pans the scene.
Not all the Russian people, just a few.
Yeah. Well, he pans the massacre.
But he could have killed a lot more.
And the last words of the movie were, proletarians, ! Remember, ! And I've seen it as my life's work to preserve the memory and to remember. I didn't expect that anyone would read my book on Gaza. It's very dense. It gives me even a bit of a headache to read at least one of the chapters.
You wrote a book on Gaza.
And but I thought that the memory deserves to be preserved.
Amen.
Thank you, Norm. Thank you, Benny. Thank you, Steven. Thank you, Moeen.
Sorry to have kept you waiting.
You yap worse than 6 barbers.
It's a living.